This video, it roughly lasts about an hour and 5 minutes. It covers the day leading up to the appointment and the appointment itself. If you're only interested in the appointment, skip to about 48 minutes for that only. If you want to see how you know the night before, those things that were done, those things that were said by the government that led up to this event, and a recap of what took place while in the psych ward, then watch it from start to finish. Okay. Um, I'm being politically attacked by the city of Akron. What took place recently is you're going to be getting the after effect before you get what took place, and the events that led up to it, because I'm still composing those parts, and I'm also waiting on a recording from the police department, the body cam. But anyhow, it resulted in a 90-day civil commitment. They found me as a threat to the government, and I want to tell you why they found me as a threat to the government. The government operates as a chief constituent. That means at every level, city, state, federal, they operate as chief constituents. I've talked about the identities of created races. The Constitution is in place to preserve created races. The things that I discuss compromises the Constitution, but it's the end time. It's that time, like Satan's time is up. So that's where it's at. So when I start talking about eugenics, and demon possession, how these things, are taking place, I talk about the mechanisms, those things that are in place, the how. And immediately I'm wronged because of that discussion, the things that I'm able to discuss, the things that I openly addressed. What's taking place right now is, like I said, my follow-up appointment is tomorrow with Dr. Wilke, the same one. I guess I should provide a little bit of background information. I don't know if I'm going to include that. Hold on one sec. Okay, I'm going to discuss it now, and I'll refrain from talking about it when I compose the other parts. I'll just kind of, I guess, refer people. But like I said, no one's watching right now. This matter is being completely isolated. The doctor, he shows tales of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia has evolved more recently over the last decade and a half. However, it used to be most commonly recognized as showing multiple personalities. And although I'm going to be recording tomorrow, that'll take place in one setting, so I doubt that I'll get a chance to display it. But when we were in the psych ward is where it showed up the most. So I talked about this yesterday. I hate to repeat myself, but anyhow, it gives you an opportunity to see how consistent and accurate I am. So when we were in the psych ward, we met on a few occasions over my 9-10 days there. So one day he'd come in and he'd be, a passive aggressive with his tone, like, this is textbook delusional. Like, the length of this is that it's textbook delusional. I mean, I don't need to read it. And the next day he'll come in like, well, a lot of stuff happened to you. Like, I mean, so how are you coping with it? Trying to take a more sincere approach. And then one day, he was reading the motion, because I always take the legal route. He was reading the motion, and he saw my address on there. He was like, oh, the Firestone Park area. And I was like, yeah. He was like, I stay over there too. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was the end of it. When we went to court the next day, he acted as if I was homeless. And you get a chance to see that play out on the recording. The recording is formatted in a VLC, and they're not allowing me to drop that into iMovie. So whereas I was going to make it readily available where you can just hit play, I'm not able to do that now. Like, it's being rejected. And I don't think under normal circumstances it would be. I don't think that that's normal. I think that there's no reason why iMovie wouldn't play that. But anyhow, so yeah, he acted like I was homeless because that's what was suggested to the subconscious mind. That's what was suggested to the subconscious mind. I talk a lot about created races and their identities, their bodies being an identity easily used. You know, the government uses them as outfits. You know, it's just whoever they need to be that day. And agents show up. Some agents show up and they don't have a problem with me. You know, and then others show up and they have a big problem with me. And, you know, it quickly turns left and they mistreat. You know, they'll sit there and they'll listen to what I have to say. It'll make perfectly good sense. And then they'll go and they'll, like, screw my paperwork up so that, yeah, it looks bad on record. And as you can tell, my conversation is much too educated from that, for that. The next day, following the hearing, when I spoke with him, I told him, I said, you know, you lied under oath yesterday. And he said, regarding what? And I told him, I said, you know, we just talked about living in the same area and you acted as if I was homeless. And he said, no, I didn't do that. He kept doing like this, you know, like, no, I didn't do that. I didn't say that, you know, type of thing. And I just let it go. I know these are different entities showing up. And the worst part about the subconscious mind is agents are the best ones to argue with. Because that's when it gets real and a lot of stuff comes out. But when it's artificial intelligence, you know, just an identity under suggestion, it gets ugly because there's nothing to check for truth. You know, it's locked in. That's what the subconscious does. That's what the subconscious mind does. It aligns things to act out whatever is told. So if it's told that the person sitting in front of it is homeless and it's a liar and it does nasty, filthy things, that's how it's going to treat it. Regardless of how much it conflicts with reality, I can be sitting there well kept, you know, appropriate and poised, and it'll still treat me that way. Anyhow, some of the things that they do to align these lies that they tell, these lies that they're suggesting to the subconscious mind, is they mark up my face. So recently they started marking up my face again. And they're making claims of drug use, something I've never done. They're talking right now. So anyhow, yeah, he showed traces of multiple personalities. I'll be meeting with him tomorrow for the follow-up appointment. What they're doing right now is they're probing. You know, as I prepare, because I have a couple of things that I want to come out. Like I said, I'm going to be recording. So they're kind of probing and like throwing out statements and giving impressions to see how I'll respond to these situations. And the point in seeing how I'll respond to these situations is so that they can keep me from responding that way. This goes on for hours. Sometimes it goes on all night and I don't get sleep behind it. Like they'll keep me up and make sure I get no sleep behind stuff like this. It's absolute torture. And they're attacking my throat a little bit right now. I think you can tell that. So anyhow, remote neuromonitoring is the government. It's a technology that the government has access to that gives them the ability to see thoughts as they form, but that's not the only thing that it does. It's a read on the mind. So long-term memory, short-term memory, they have access to all of that. They have access to all that, so they know everything. And when they prompt, like say for instance, if they try to jog my memory, they throw something at me from 5th grade. When I get the memory, everything associated with it creates a visual. So they see what I imagine. They see exactly how I recall it. And I don't want to go, because I'm going to talk about remote neuromonitoring. I've never written it, although I've touched on it in multiple videos. I've never went into detail with it, like all the things they're able to do with it. But anyhow, probing, like I said, the point of doing that is to see how I respond so they can keep me from responding that way. So I'll give you an example. They're let's see. This stuff is like more about the stuff that they're discussing right now. They were discussing my weight. They've been attacking my weight still. Last week alone, they injected 7 pounds. I'm 198. I was 198 pounds today when I weighed myself. I walked roughly 30 miles last week. So like I said before, as I burn, they inject to maintain their desired weight. It's an attack being made by the hospital or those that own the hospital, those chief constituents, those stakeholders that own the hospital. Because it's much bigger than them. That's just an identity, an entity that they're using. They've been lying about taking it off. The whole lying about taking it off is a disinformation thing. That's a disinformation thing. So just to make this simple, I'm going to use 3 different groups, but it's way more than that. Like disinformation, when it comes to me, my entire existence has been turned into a disinformation campaign. And they give many, many, many different reads and variations on what's taking place with me. So, like I said, for the sake of an example, I'm going to use three things. I'm going to use... First of all, you're probably wondering who's on this. Area 51. They identify themselves as aliens. Those things, strange or odd. They're demons. Supreme, evil, spirits. And they own everyone. They're the puppet master. So, I'm going to use the CIA, the NSA, and the DIA. When it comes to those 3, they may have different permissions. Although they all have remote neuromonitoring, they're able to, tap in and see that stuff. They're not part of the genetic engineering process. Like the CIA is responsible for perception management. So they're able to tweak the way that people see things. They alter the mind a lot according to tiers and I don't want to say workplace, but just anything that involves and surrounds shaping someone's perspective. They're very involved in stuff like that. Tiers and demographics, that's what it is. And then I said CIA, DIA, NSA. So anyhow, then you have the NSA, because that's what I call it, the middle finger. Then you have the NSA, and we'll say that they are not, when it comes to surveillance, let's talk about surveillance. When it comes to surveillance, they all have remote neuromonitoring. They're able to tap in and see thoughts and stuff like that. But some may not have permission. I know I just went backwards with it, but I'm getting there. Some may have permission to alter. The CIA has permission to alter. The NSA may only have permission to view. And the DNI or DIA, whichever I called it. That's a reflection of remote neuromonitoring. They may have like something with a slight variation, you know. Maybe a department can change certain things, you know, have the ability to override. When it comes to surveillance, the same thing is taking place. They may see all, the NSA is receiving their intel. So when it comes to the image that's being shaped of me, they're receiving it secondhand. They have no way to look into it. The DNI or DIA is probably watching me through my phone. You know, like that's probably how they are tracking. That's not realistic, but I hope you get what I mean. So anyhow, disinformation, because some of them are getting their information secondhand. They have no way to know that it's being created. A lot of the things that they show people are things that they've created, and the things that they create look no different than reality. So if they're capturing me walking down the street, it's clear as day that I'm walking down the street. If they create something with me walking down the street and stopping and having a conversation with somebody, it looks just as real as reality. There's no way to tell the difference. So someone would think that I'm having encounters that I'm not having. That's how you fool, you know. So this is turning into a long video. I just wanted to make this short. They're probing. Because they're able to see what I'm what I'm thinking and how I respond to things, they block it. So for example, yesterday, I hadn't been able to access the word fiend. They hate when I call them fiends. And suddenly the word was available all of a sudden yesterday. But they kept me up and ensured I didn't get any sleep either. They attacked me all night for calling them fiends. And for setting off a couple alarms. Right now they're saying she's not able to stop telling on us. Anyhow, I'm going to read to you a couple of things they were saying. Like I said, they're attacking me. They're attacking my weight. I have new dark spots, like in my inner thigh. It looks like bruising is taking place. I have some pictures of it, but I'm going to put it up separately. They were talking about how whichever demon that I'm meeting with tomorrow is going to have the same, is going to realize that I have the same mentality that I had. This was an attempt to silence me. This political attack, you know, this wrongfully removing me from my place and hospitalizing me and, you know, like wrongfully medicating me and the civil commitment. This was all an attempt to keep me silent. And they're realizing that my mentality has not changed at all. They're not realizing it, but now they're informing others of it. And they're talking about, you know, some of them are going to know that they knew that ahead of time and that they hospitalized me for no reason. Back to the fat thing. Okay, like I said, they might tell one that they took it off and showed them a completely different image of me. Like they're seeing a completely different image of me. And they'll tell another that they can't take it off. And they've even gone as far as making it about sex. They're telling them that they can't because if they take it off, that I'll have sex. And that's far from true. My vision, they've been attacking my vision, my skin, all kinds of stuff. They were recapping what they did to my eyebrows. I've talked about that in another video. Tomorrow is going to be a big day for the government. You know, they're all going to be listening in to see if My perception has been altered to see if I'm backing down, to see if I'm coming around. And that's never going to be the case. Never. Like I said before, I'm legally pursuing them. But anyhow, for the sake of this video being not so long, I'm going to end it now, and you'll see how it goes tomorrow. It's 3 a.m. and as you can see, the radio's playing and the light is on. They're attacking me. It's been going on for about 3 hours. They were putting my back in a lot of pain. They were putting my back in a lot of pain. They were clogging my nose. They were pressing my face into the massage bed. My arm, if I were to lay on my arm, they were amplifying the bone. So they were making the soft muscle, well, both parts. They were amplifying the bone if I lay on the bone or near the bone. And the muscle part, the soft, they were making it hard. They're pulling my hair, like the front of my head. I'm going to show you something real quick. So I'm laying like this. They're pressing my face, and sometimes they burn it, like they're creating this burning sensation. If I switch positions and I lay like this, they're making the bone, they're amplifying how hard it is. It's manipulation of matter. They press my face into it. I lie like this. They pull my hair. You know how those little things that you put on the back, they contract muscles? It's like they have a big one. And everything tenses up. And after I cuss them out for so long, they'll let go and you'll see everything drop. And it happens over and over again for extended periods of time. They just contract everything and then it falls. These stupid motherfuckers mad because I'm going to handle them like the no good bastards they are tomorrow. This mental illness shit they trying to pull about the truth is not happening. It's 4 a.m. and they're still keeping me from resting. I want to show you something. You're going to see a video following this. I just want to show you what's happening. My arm is swollen. I wish I could put them side by side. But this next video that you're going to see, the same thing is happening again. Okay, the video that I originally intended to put in this place was one that I used in another video. However, it was not the same thing. What was taking place is in I can't remember the word. I was trying to use both. It was my intent to use both words for injection. Both words. Yeah, I can't access the word. Anyhow. So that's what was different. in the video, you'll see the example. It has a National Geographic's cover. And I was talking about them corrupting my code. In this particular video, you later see they were making me high. They were injecting something into my veins to make me high.
Okay, it's 5:30 a.m. and I still haven't had any sleep. My arm is in pain, and the side of my head is in pain. It's been that burn-like sensation, a burn in a pool, like they were doing something to hair follicles. They're trying to reduce what I can get done in a day. It was my intent to go to the library. I have a couple of documents that I wanted to print out, supporting documentation for this meeting. The meeting isn't until, the appointment isn't until 3:40, and I intended on walking there, so I was going to leave the library about 2:45. But I planned on getting to the library at 10. Like I said, this is supposed to, this sort of torture is supposed to reduce, not only put me in a lot of pain, but reduce what I can get done in a day. This is an attempt to try to get me to sleep in the first half, like, sleep in the morning. Like, they'll put me out in a little while, and when my alarm goes off, it'll be hard for me to come out of it. When my alarm goes off, it'll be hard for me to come out of it. Something I wanted to talk about real quick. I had to turn the music off because if I play the music, I get copyright notices from YouTube. Even if I request to have it removed from the background, like the background music removed. Anyhow, that's another story. I wanted to talk about something else that took place while I was at the psych ward. It's a really sick environment to be in. I've repeated that a couple of times. That is like the sickest place you could possibly be. It's a place full of people who do not have their minds. The ill assisting the ill. It's Satan's second home. So, while I was there, originally he was going to let me go. Over the statement that he had, he was like, well, I don't see you as any, threat to anyone. He was like, you don't have a gun, you don't this, you don't that. And this is like within those 3 days for the pink slip. And every night, literally every night when I go to sleep, they say, you don't know who's able to sabotage you. It was female agents. Like, they say the same thing over and over again. Like, you don't know who's able to sabotage you. And like, he come in with a different mindset. Suddenly the next day he showed up. He's like, I think we're gonna have to hold on to you. Because there's some other stuff going on. We have this other one, and you made this claim again. They found 2 of 3 threats that they could say, that were made towards the government. I justified those. And the second one that he found to justify his reason was from an older complaint. It was from the 78-page complaint, the one that I requested to be put on file. It's an isolated complaint, like no one's, you know what I'm saying? The government, although those 6 agencies that received the report have not responded, they're responding. You get what I'm saying? Like, they're acting through others. So, he said, we're going to have to keep you. And then, it'd be like something else planned, well, if you just sign right here and agree to do a civil commitment, we'll let you go. You don't know who's able to sabotage you, and a female agent would show up with this different mentality, like to keep me there longer. Maybe I'll have to clarify how that went again. Like, I journaled day by day. So maybe I'll have to clarify, but every time something came up or something didn't go the way that it was intended, it was one of the female agents. I'm trying to think of something else they've been saying to me tonight. I've been playing the music to kind of drown them out because they were probing and they were speeding up, you know, they were speeding up my responses so that they could quickly get and see them, you know. So it became more difficult for me to interfere with them seeing how I react. You know, they'd already got it. They already know how I was going to respond. So I turned the music on to just kind of drown them out. And they're capable of talking over music as well. They do, when it comes to acoustics, they do a lot of strange things. I don't know. I'll find an appropriate place to talk about that. Anyhow, my arm's swollen, my head hurts, and they're still pushing my face into the massage bed, which makes it look like, you know, I'm waking from sleep. And that's what they're doing right now. Like, every time I make the statement that I haven't gotten any rest, they combat it. They combat it to make it appear that I'm lying. Anyhow, it's 5:40. This is ridiculous. No caveat. Just from that last video, you can see the effects from the drug, whatever drug it is that they've given me to keep me from being able to fall into a doze. My pupils are dilated. My pupils are dilated. They're extremely big. And I told you before, I don't do drugs. There was something else. My face. In none of my recent videos does my face look this way. They've made it fat. They've made it fatter and scarred it up more. So if you look at the video that I made last week, my face looks different. It's the day up and I'm running off no sleep, obviously. I'm at the library. I printed out our earnings statement, you know, just to kind of show part of gang stalking is ruling the individual's ability to earn income. So they interfere with employment, ensure you don't get hired, and remote neural monitoring. Try to make you destitute. Is it destitute? Destitute. I believe I'm using that word the right way. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm running off of no sleep. I'm extremely tired, and they're attacking my eyes. They didn't start until I was about 5 minutes from the library to begin to attack my eyes. Before that, they were fine. That's supposed to, you already know, support suggestions. I don't know if my pupils are still big or not. The point of this video is I have done extensive research on a lot of topics. One of the topics was targeted individuals, and I've told you in the past, you know, they've attacked me in an attempt to get me to accept those individuals. And you know, I told you that I wouldn't, because they're not designed to withstand a spiritual battle. You know, they're all a reflection of artificial technology and artificial intelligence. You know, they don't have
their minds. They're absent from the body. These are possessed individuals that have been programmed to be a part of that campaign. Specifically, no different than LGBTQ and their supporters. So yeah, awareness of those. The problem was, but I also stated that I didn't want to take away from anything that anyone's endured. I can't imagine there being a case as extreme as mine, but this at its mildest stage, this sort of torture at its mildest stage is too much. So it's a problem for sure. Targeted individuals. I've done extensive research. So I have a couple sheets of paper, with some of their information on it. Things that I've looked into. As I was going over things last night, and I was gathering a couple articles that I wanted to show Dr.Wilke today. I purposefully left anything regarding targeted individuals behind, because they're trying to fool the agencies into thinking that I support that cause, and I do not. They're trying to make it appear as if I endorse it. So what they did was they put it in my book bag. Like I said, I left that information aside on purpose. I don't have anything to touch on regarding that topic or that group of individuals. We all identify with being gang stalked, but I do not identify with being a targeted individual. I know exactly who I am, and so does the government. So, they put it in my book bag just a short while ago. I had to separate it from things. I'll show you. Something else that you can tell that they're attacking is my speech. I'm not speaking as fluently as I normally do. I'm pausing more frequently. I'm kind of correcting the words as they come out more frequently. I told you the point is sleep deprivation. One of the points, one of their reasons behind it is to affect how quickly I combat remote neural monitoring. So anyhow, yeah, that's it. They put something in my backpack that I have no intent on discussing. But since me not getting sleep was enough, I told you they saw the outcome ahead of time. This is an attempt to not get me to go as hard on this doctor as I intended to. That's what this is all about. How I handle the situation. So, because that's not enough, it's a combination of things. I can tell they're overdoing it. That I'm being given something to make me feel drained. I'm being given something that makes me feel drained. So, it's a combination of things. I've discussed this in the past. It's difficult when you're going through something like this, because as you saw, that's something I could have included in the last video I just made, but now it's a video separate. It's separate from, the topic. It's like a caveat on the topic. So they keep you from telling all of what you're experiencing. How much, they keep you from openly recognizing how much you're experiencing. So, yeah, I got a couple articles. I'm going to do a quick script. Not really a script, but a quick, outline. you know, the things that I want to touch on. It's just a few things. I know we don't have a lot of time today, so I won't be able to go as deep into some of these matters that I want to, but I'll get a chance to open up. And I want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention to what a covert professional is. What I'm bringing to the table are concepts that should open your mind. No one should be closed-minded when it comes to what can be accomplished with science. No one, especially doctors, but they are not required to evolve in their field. They have statutes, they have stipulations, and they have mandates. Those things they have to abide by, and they stick to that strictly. When it comes to being sure, they're never sure. They make a lot of I think statements, you know. I think is this. I think is that. To know is to be sure. They're never sure. And it's an easy escape. Like, there's no one to hold these doctors accountable. Like, they're in place to ignore these matters. If they were to acknowledge what's going on, they compromise the Constitution, and they become an enemy of the state to their colleagues. So, yeah, that's it. It's 3 o'clock. I need to fix my ponytail. I'm actually going to catch the bus to CSS. It's only about a little over a mile. But I'm literally that drained. Right now they're making a mockery of how they gave my energy to the doctor. The same stuff they do with the neighborhood. They openly make a mockery about stealing energy from me and giving it to these people, and then they'll make it blatant. It's a blatant disrespect. You know, I'll see them running and moving in a way that they can't move, that they don't normally move. Right now they're discussing how I didn't do anything to anyone, and that they're going to realize, those that I'm coming in contact, like whoever's using the judge that day, or who's ever using the doctor that day, are going to know that they put me on their radar for no reason. One of the females just said, "Thank you for giving us your energy." It's a common statement that they use ever so often. You know, when they attack me extremely bad, one of them will whisper really quick out of nowhere, "Thank you for giving us all your energy." You know, like as if it was done willingly. She'll say it so quickly that, you know, I don't have time to combat it unless she's trying to attach a name to it, that I'll catch it, you know, right about there. They're discussing amongst themselves why they scheduled me at the end of the day. They said now he's going to know why they scheduled me at the end of the day. I always talk about changes that they've made to policies. Since I've been here, one of the complaints that I made when I was last here was the wait time. For a 10 o'clock appointment, they probably wouldn't have saw you until 11:30. They had no regard for the time because it's a crazy place. You know, it's a really sick environment, and most of these people here, most of the clients that have to come here, you know, even some of their employees are like mentally ill. They have, you know, they're LGBT, and some of them have a mental illness record. There's a program that you can come in through so you can be on a civil commitment, you know, for a mental illness and still end up working with them. But the sign that I showed you, that's a change that they made. So now they're doing better regarding appointment times. Let's see if they spike my blood pressure.
I'll take the paper, alright, and then you take off your stuff and then step up on the scale. step down. You have a seat. Side here. Thank you. I'm just point it at you. Let's wait for that pulse to get up there.
All right.
There we go. 79. That was better than 46. Alright, I'll just your blood pressure. Is it thinner?
It's kind of.
Yeah, I can hear through that.
I'm layered, so if you need me to take one off,
What'd you say?
I'm layered. If you need me to take one off.
Nope, that's good. Very good. Arm up for me. Thank you. A little tighter. Blood pressure is a little elevated. Do you take blood pressure medication?
No. What was it?
It was 142 or 100.
That is a little high.
Do you see primary care anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay, let them know. I don't know what your blood pressure normally runs. At least when you're here, it's been high.
Yeah. It always spikes.
Yeah. It could just be you're here.
Right.
But keep an eye on that. Where do you see primary care?
The VA clinic on Waterloo Road.
And do you smoke?
No.
That's about right. Do you have any allergies?
No.
Alright, you're all set.
All right.
I'll hopefully soon to get you. You can wait in this lobby if you want.
Okay. Right now, one of them just said they know that our goal was to have the entire population under artificial technology, and they said they're going to know that she's not able to look at these people the way that we have them. That's what I was going to say. Even though I have not, I'm going to tell him that I took 2 trazodons last night. As you know, if I'd taken them, they would it wouldn't have showed in my system. They would have taken them right out because it would have conflicted with the light that they were trying to tell on me. A read of the medicine in my system would have conflicted with the light that they were trying to tell. You know what? I should have let you, I didn't even take advantage of all the boy girls and girl boys that are passing through, that work here. You know, they're case managers or case workers, who have a vested interest in people like me, you know, like being silenced. Not even people like me. I'm one of a kind. I'm so exhausted. Okay.
So how are you doing?
I'm fine. A little exhausted today. I didn't get much sleep last night.
What happened? Just a bad night? Or?
Yeah. I had 2 trazodones actually, and still no rest.
And so last time I saw you was in the hospital, right?
Correct. You know, I meant to ask you, I didn't get a chance to see you again before I got discharged. You said that the director had to be notified before I left. What was his involvement?
The director needed to be notified. Oh no, he just wanted to touch base with me just because of the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Now I remember, you wrote the letter, right?
Complaint.
That's it.
Which is a legal reference.
Yeah, I told him no, she's not dangerous. She's not gonna hurt anyone. I'm confident.
How did it reach him?
How do I reach him?
No, how did it reach him? The complaint.
Oh, because he's the chairman of the department.
Okay, so it just had to be pushed up to him?
Yeah, it was a big deal, like I told you. People think, you know. All right. So, since you've been out, how have things been? Is that still, all that still going on?
Yes, I'm still being harassed, remotely, of course. Occasionally I have some rashes and red marks come up on my skin.
All right.
That's about it, though. A lot of threats lately. They've been threatening to harm my mother.
And you hear of that?
Yes.
All right. How about the medicine? Do you think, has that been helping at all with this?
No, I expected it to too. But it's no different than the last time that I was on Invega. It doesn't stop the government from communicating with me. You know, it doesn't keep them from talking. It just.
All right. I was hoping it would maybe be a little less intense, or it wouldn't bother you as much.
No, I mean, right now, I stay busy. I'm working on complaints, so it's not like it engulfs me or it keeps me from getting anything done.
Okay. So, like, before you went to the hospital, do you think it was worse then?
No.
No.
It's the same.
All right. And sometimes it probably keeps you up at night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that happens a lot?
No, not very much, but when it does, it's bad.
Okay.
You know, like, it'll be literally no sleep. Like, I'll be up till about 7 a.m. and then right around 7 a.m., like, I'm out.
Oh.
But just for a couple hours before my alarm goes off.
All right. And then you stay up for the day? Or?
Mm-hmm. I spend most of my days, well, just about every day, except for Sunday at the library.
And doing what, like research on the computer? And...
Yeah, research, complaints, other documents, you know, that I compose or put together.
Yeah. And like the complaints, I don't even know who you can complain to get something done for this, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to, like I told you, as far as the hospital goes, Suma, I'm going to have to take the legal route, and the same with APD. It's going to be difficult, though, to get a lawyer to take the case because I'm regarding matters that compromise the Constitution. The Constitution's in place to preserve created races, so, you know, no one's going to really want to take that. It'll be one thing.
Like what's your case against like the hospital?
Malpractice and conspiring.
Conspiring.
Yes.
Like what? I guess the lawyer would probably say, what are the damages like that the hospital did? Or
well, the first time that I was admitted to City Hospital or St. Thomas, an officer lied on me. And in the response that I got from that complaint, it kind of tells, you know, like, it tells the truth that, you know, a lie was told. So that's pretty much proof there, that I was wronged in that way. And it went from the officer lying on me. And
What did he lie? What was the lie?
He said that he found me wandering around in the YMCA after hours.
Okay. And where did he find you?
In the physical therapy room at City Hospital.
Oh, okay. Are you sure that that's not just something like got mixed up in the translation, like somebody else said it?
Well, yeah, they kind of stuck to it the whole time. He said I was there and he saw me wandering, and when he found me, I was sitting there actually writing at the time.
Okay.
But you're probably familiar with this. What the officer tells the nurse during a pink slip process determines where you go, whether you go to the 5th or 6th floor. So it was kind of a...
Yeah, I mean, but, you're saying other things that everybody would think is delusional, like having a chip in your brain and all that.
Well, how do you suppose the application of eugenics is applied without a chip?
I don't think the application of eugenics is applied.
You don't?
No.
You don't think eugenics exists today?
No.
Oh, well, I would say that's delusional.
Okay, why is that?
Because the created races, Caucasian being one, is like the most genetically flawed, meaning that you're recessive, it actually recedes. You guys don't evolve in terms of personality and appearance. And
Okay.
then
How's that mean eugenics exists?
Well, it's the sought to be well born.
It's what?
The sought to be well born.
The salt?
Sought. Desire to be well born. To be born without deficiency.
Okay, so what's that have to do with eugenics?
That's what eugenics is.
So what, I don't get it. Like, how are you the victim of eugenics?
Well, because my bloodline makes non-human categories.
So you're
human.
part non-human?
No, I'm human all the way, but you would be considered non-human. If you ask the average white male, where he comes from, he's either going to tell you a Homo sapien or a Neanderthal. A Neanderthal is a non-human category.
Mm-hmm.
And
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make a lick of sense.
It does.
Like how are you a victim of eugenics?
Well, they're still in my DNA.
What is?
The government.
They're doing what to it?
Stealing it.
Stealing it. How are they stealing it?
A lot of it is energy. Those things that are associated with melanin. So melanin, the pineal gland, vaginal type hormones are what they're in sought of, and those are the things that they're stealing. As soon as they begin to attack me, they make those things obvious. So they're telling me that they're going to do these things and actually doing it. Before I have a mark show up on me, they tell me they were going to do it. Before they stole my vehicle, they told me they were going to do it. Before they killed my cousin and my great aunt, they told me they were going to do it.
They killed them?
Yes.
How'd they kill them?
A rare form of cancer.
Oh, well, didn't the cancer kill them then?
Well, you could blame it on that, but you have to understand it goes back to the application of eugenics and how it's applied. Cancer is being applied. Okay. It's not something that you could catch.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So all these people who catch cancer, it's just eugenics? All the white people
It's just the government. Cancer? It's just the government.
Okay.
So, the government's the Antichrist.
You'll have a hard time getting a lawyer because this is delusional. It's
so
delusional.
Technically, I won't. I'm pretty well prepared, and when I present it to the lawyer, it would be different than what's taking place here. Okay. It'll be pretty much, the basics.
All right.
With no deviation. Because right now, we're kind of bouncing around on the topics in a way that it would make it not make sense. When I speak about these matters in videos, they're organized.
Okay.
And of course, with supporting documentation, so
Yeah, that documentation that you got, it supports the fact that it doesn't make any sense.
What documentation?
Like when you there's a huge book, like just a big stack of stuff that you said was proof of all this, and it wasn't.
It was a complaint that was not appropriately handled. on the hospital's end and labeling me something like mentally ill, which is the hospital's way of trying to ignore the complaint. They don't want to have to look into the matters.
Okay, so the hospital's job is to go fight the government.
No, technically, look, all I did was I asked them to place it on file so that it would be on file. That's all I requested.
Why? What do you think that's going to accomplish? The hospital have it on file.
Well, in case I was politically conspired against, like I was, Sherry Eichhorn, that was a paranoid act on her end to call the cops and have them remove me from my home. So I wanted those things to be on file. So if I had to show up at St. Thomas again, it would be there to reference.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right. But, so just, if you say, talk about hurting people or something like that, people will make a big deal of it.
Yeah.
All right. And right now, are you still taking the medicine? Or?
Yes.
And right now, do you have insurance? Can you get scripts filled? Or?
Right now, they're billing the board for CSS service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like they're doing the central pharmacy, probably?
Yes. That's where I picked up my 30-day supply.
Okay. And so the trazodone, you don't necessarily take it every night?
No, I don't.
So if you...
Last night was the first night I've taken it since I got it.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. All right. If you ever wanted to try to take 1.5, then...
Okay.
Or you could take 2. I say 1.5 because, just in case you're afraid to take 2. But
right.
People take 100, that's no problem. So maybe at least that could help you sleep on those bad nights.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish I could do more to help you.
That's okay.
It's sad. It's sad. Your life is...
Well, you know what? The covert operation that the government is running and doing these crimes with is called gang stalking. It's recognized, not in professions like these because you guys are in place to protect.
Well, I actually recognize it as a frequent delusion people have. Gang stalking, I swear.
But there's proof.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have a paper trail of all the things that have taken place. And that's actually what was in that complaint, but guess what? No one read it.
Well, I think I read a lot of it, and it really, I didn't see anything that was proof of anything. But
gang stalking. Yeah, it's real and it's taking place. And these technologies, these things that you might call sci-fi, a delusion, or, patents that you refer to as goofy, these things actually exist. And whether or not you and I agree on it, it's going to get out no matter what. Eventually I will get justice.
Okay, well, I hope so, if
Yeah.
All right. We have you're on commitment, so if you just come in and see me and you're cooperative and everything, I won't renew it.
Cool.
Okay. So
how often are we going to stick with monthly or?
Yeah. I guess I bet we could do. Let me see if I got a notice. I bet if we did one more month, that would probably be enough or whatever.
Okay.
I could say 6 weeks.
Okay. That works.
All right. And if there's ever anything I could do to help, I would do it. I feel
Dr.
you suffer,
Wilkes,
and I wish.
Dr. Wilkes, part of your job, everything about your job is mandated. You guys are not required to evolve in your field. I've been to school for psychology. They don't want me in that field because I wouldn't ignore the claims. No one can show up to me and tell me these things were happening and me not research it. It's right there. It's plain as day. You don't have to look hard for it. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
But covert professionals, like I said, you're in place to protect the Constitution,
Okay, I don't,
That's
if I
something you
am,
can't
I
com-
don't,
You may not be aware of that, but that's what your position is about.
okay, all right. All right, so I guess I'll check in with you in 6 weeks.
Okay. Do I need to drop that off at the front?
Yeah, they'll give you your next appointment.
All right.
This way here.
Okay.
Pretty good.
All right.
All right,
Take care.